The last time we were here, I was confused, and so were other patients about the study design for the multi-site. And I think I have just two questions. One, the mission statement of that to make a comparison between what patients look like in a clinical setting by experts compared to what the patients look like in CDC studies? Is that the mission?
Well, I mean, I think that'll be one of the outcomes. We'll see, what similarities and differences there are. But the real reason is to understand CFS in the clinics and to use the instruments to fully characterize all of the domains of illness. And that data then can be used to inform case definition issues. It can also be used to provide information about what instruments work best, and that can be used in as simplified a manner as possible. So we have a lot of redundancy now, and we'll be comparing what questions and which approaches give us the most robust information. And that information then about the questionnaires and characterizing the illness will be made available to the research community as well as clinicians with the goal of increasing data collection about the illness throughout as broadly as possible, because 450 is just a start. I've had the privilege of visiting with most of these clinical sites. I haven't visited them all yet, and I was very, very impressed by how diverse the illness is and how differently the clinics all approach the illness. So we're learning a lot.
And my follow-up was the reason I was so confused was because it seemed almost like a catch-22, where we don't have consistency with a case definition. So you were asking, 7 sites to pick any definition, and if the problem is that some of the definitions out there are bad, why are we using them then to think about redefining CFS? Well, it didn't make sense to me, and maybe you can help me understand that.
If we had required that they use a specific case definition, then the patients that we would have would, by definition, meet that case definition. So you end up with a tautology. You can't evaluate how effective a case definition is if you use it to recruit. And you can't even compare other case definitions if you use a case definition to recruit. So the best thing that we can do is to go to experts, people who know the illness and take care of patients with the illness, and ask them to use their clinical judgment. So we will benefit by their clinical judgment. And I suspect, we're just beginning the process. I suspect that what we'll find is a lot of heterogeneity, and out of that we'll see what are the most consistent things and see if we need to revise the case definition or whether we need to provide more guidance about how to fully characterize patients that fit in a broad case definition.
And will you ask them at the end of the study what case definition they did use?
Well, they've all indicated they use variations of Canadian 94. They feel that some even the Holmes. I mean, all variations of it. So we will.
When you say variations, do you mean sometimes they blend aspects of the definitions?
Clinical practice is not a science, and so yes, I think they do a lot of blending.
Okay.
The only comment I would make is